Hey guys, what's up? Not going to do the usual spiel that we do at the beginning of every episode. This is kind of going to be a little off the cuff. I'm going to be looking at my notes. I'm going to be kind of referencing some things. Just wanted to have a heart to heart about this program. Um, First, opening this up, we are blessed to have this problem as fans. So we have to kind of remove ourselves from this emotional weekend we just went through and kind of the things we're facing and recognize, hey, these are hashtag first world problems. These are problems for upper echelon teams that a lot of, I think, programs around the country wish they had, to be honest with you, right? So that's like kind of the first thing I'd want to kind of highlight. Next, just because someone criticizes you, right? For a job that you've done, and you're going to see me talk about this team and this coaching staff, it does not reflect of how I view them as humans or their value. This is just, I'm going to be speaking strictly on results and facts and things that I had to look up. This will not be an emotional thing. I've waited, given myself some time to talk about this program, but I ask myself questions. I've watched other people talk about things. I'm trying to get the temperature of the room as a family, as the Canes family, and what we're feeling. And my goal is to make this video, not to be prolific or maybe bring up a topic that you've never heard or something completely new or original, but I'm basically making this because we have a very specific small corner of fandom that I respect and I love you guys. Um, and I wanted to kind of give you guys some insight into things that I have found and that I think are pertinent to how we view Mario, view this team, and view the program moving forward. Because I think you kind of got to remove emotion and you've got to remove your loyalty to a program to see things clearly, right? And so, just to give you a little background on me, I'm not sure if I've ever done this, but I grew up a Hurricane. I loved the Canes from my childhood into my adolescence. I was lucky and blessed enough to go to and graduate from the University of Miami back in 2007. And I've been a season ticket holder ever since. And I go to, if there's 6 games a year, I make it to at least a minimum of five, if not all the games. Don't get there on time, but I'm at most games. So I'm not this casual or bandwagon fan that jumped on with Cam Ward or when Mark Rick came down here. I mean, I've been through the Butch sanction days. I've been through the Larry Coker decline. I've been through the decades of mediocrity of Randy Shannon, Al Golden, Mark Richt. Loved his 2 seasons, but let's face it, wasn't a huge winner. And Manny Diaz. So I say all this because, again, I want to keep it a buck with you. And so we're going to get into this. And I think it's paramount that we discuss things in a factual manner, not an emotional manner. So I'm going to do my best to take my hat off. I've got my gear on, gear on. And I'm going to look at this program like it's been Old Miss or Oregon State. And I'm not going to sit here and beat a dead horse and talk about all the issues that are wrong. You know what's wrong, but how do we put them into context? How do we view this, right? So here's a reality we need to come to. Here's some realities that we need to accept and some truths we need to accept. First, most important one, we are not the U anymore. This, it's a symbol. It means something, but we're not the university. We're the University of Miami. We're not the U right now. When Billy Corbin made that 30 for 30 documentary, The U, it highlighted a program that was prolific, that was dominant, and that was innovative. And we're none of that. And to be honest with you, we have not been that for 2 decades. Okay. And we have to accept that. Right. Miami hasn't won an ACC championship once. When just I know some of you may be younger, some of you may be my age, 40, and remember us coming into the ACC. There were shirts that said, ACC All Canes Conference. We thought we were going to come in here. We're coming out of the Big East, and we were going to be the big baddies on the block. And even if you ask some FSU fans, they'll tell you the straight up truth. They'll be like, hey, like this is going to be hard. We're not going to be winning these things anymore. And so we haven't been these juggernauts. We haven't been this team that's competing for ACC championships every year. As a matter of fact, we've only had 2 double-digit winning seasons, one of them being last year in the last 2 decades. Okay. When Miami was in the Big East, we won 9 championships, 6 outright, I think 4 shared, or yeah, no, 6 outright, 3 shared. And of the time that we were in the Big East, only 4 years we didn't win. 4 years. That's it. 4 years. Not in the ACC. We're not doing that. And so, again, we're not the U. We're the University of Miami. Until we can get back to competing for conference and eventually national championships, I can't call this team the U. It's not. And you tell me the lies. Tell me. Tell me where we've looked dominant consistently. Tell me where we've been winning meaningful, important games, right? We beat Florida. We beat FSU this year. Both are garbage programs. We beat them last year. They weren't good programs. You look at every year for the last 20 years, we are not beating. We may have beaten an Ohio State. We may have beaten a Oklahoma, but those were on down years. Those were not years where they were competing for national championships. And it's the truth. Again, tell me the lies, I'll happily go back and forth in the comments with you. Next thing we have to accept as a fan base: last year was a fluke. Okay, last year was literally all Cam Ward. There's not a single aspect of success that carried over from last year into this year. I don't see it. Even the O line, you look at it, it's regressing, right? Um, again, great that we had 10 wins last year. Great that we were, a top 2, top 3 team last year. But what do we have to show for it this year? Nothing. We didn't build off it. Great teams build off their successes. Look at Ohio State. Look at the Michigans. And again, I'm not talking about Michigan this year. I'm talking about when they won their national championship, they were building each year. You could see it. You could see what they were doing to get to that national championship run. We're not doing that. If you remove Cam Ward from last year, we lose to Virginia Tech, Cal, Louisville, maybe even Duke for a 6-7 season, which the year before, let's remind ourselves, we went 7-6. Okay. Again, it's not like we're winning 9 games, 8 games. Very similar team. When judging Mario, you need to remove the 2024 season because it was an anomaly. It was Cam Ward. Okay. Third truth we need to face: we are not a destination program. And what I mean by that is, if you've been watching this channel, you've heard me allude to, Ohio State. Let's just use them because they're a great example, right? Elite wide receivers go to Ohio State because of their coaches, right? That's why they go there. People go to a certain university because of their coaches, right? And now I know the first thing someone's probably going to say is, well, what about Mario? He's a recruiter. Mario's a great recruiter, but he's not coaching. I'm going to get into this in a few minutes about Mario's coaching, but he's not coaching. He's not coaching the O-line. I mean, yeah, man, he may jump in and give a little thing here or there, or a little bit of encouragement, but he's not teaching the X and O's. And he shouldn't. He's the head coach, and he's a quote unquote CEO head coach, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes too. But we're not a destination program. We don't have coaches that were like, oh my God, I got to go play for Corey Heatherman. Oh my God, I got to go play for Shannon Dawson. Now, maybe some of these young kids, because they see what Cam Ward did last year. But when you look at these coaches' resumes, it's not like they're putting out tons of NFL talent. It's not like these guys are going first, second rounders, right? Compared to the Ohio States, compared to the LSUs, the DBU, right? We don't develop just kind of talk about that. We don't develop quarterbacks, right? Like, name me one quarterback in the last 25 years besides Ken Dorsey to go on to have success in the NFL. Name one besides Cam Ward. Again, we didn't even develop. You can't even say Cam Ward because we didn't even develop him. Cam Ward came signed, sealed, and delivered, right? We didn't even develop him, right? And then, to be honest, let's take it a step further, right? Because we used to be quarterback U. So let's remove that. Let's take that out. We don't really develop anyone. I mean, this is going to be one of the hardest pills to swallow, guys. And I know people are shouting at me and they're like, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. We've only had 13 players drafted in the first 2 rounds since 2007. I chose 2007 because that was probably the final year where all of Butch's players are gone. All the players that were, leftovers of the 2001, 2002 national championship teams. Yes, I'm including 2002 because if you're a Cane fan, you know we didn't lose that game to Ohio State, right? 13 players in damn near 20 years in the first 2 rounds. Who are we developing? Where are they going? And I know what you're going to say. Oh, no, but we have players who are balling on the NFL now. They're getting developed in the NFL. If you're looking at their success in the NFL compared to their accomplishments at UM, they're not the same. We've seen that, especially a lot of those players like that like Al Golden had, and that even Randy Shannon had to a certain extent. Like there are players, Mark Richt, every coach. It's not just Mario, by the way, and I'm going to get into that in this last point. It's everyone. We're just not developing players like we used to. And again, this is going to be hard hit. Did we even really develop the players from the 2001 2002 team? Or did they just, again, like Cam Ward, come sign, seal, deliver, and they were just naturally, they were freakazoids that were just so freaking good? I don't know. I don't know. And until we get some quality coaches in here, to be honest with you, I don't think we're going to win anything. I mean, we're going to potential. We talk about potential and the star ratings and all these guys. Those stars don't win you championships. You can't collect a bunch of 4 or 5-star players and be like, okay, here's my 4 and 5-star players. How do I collect my national championship? That's not how it works. You have to develop these players, and we're not doing that. I'm not seeing substantial growth between players from year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3. I mean, we've got guys who are sophomores and juniors this year who are still second and third stringers. And these are Mario's guys. Why are they not competing on a regular basis? Again, I don't know the ins and outs of the football team. I don't understand, what deals have been made, what the stipulations are for playing. But what I can tell you is you're going to usually put your best players out there. My hope, right? Finally, this is the hardest truth we're going to have to like really like grab onto, and I'm going to highlight it. This isn't crazy talk. Maybe it's just Miami. Maybe the city is the problem. Maybe the main selling point, what we try and show kids, come to Miami, live the Miami life, look at all this beaches, sun, blah, 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 blah. That's the problem. I mean, losing in late October and November is not just a Cristobal problem. It's a Miami problem. Let me listen. I went back. Got it right here. I'm going to read these notes to you. Since 2003, here are all the years. And by the way, I'm going to stop at 2013 because it goes on, obviously. But here's all the losses we've sustained from either the second or the third or fourth week of October through November. 2003, we lost to Virginia Tech and Tennessee. 2004, we lost to UNC, Clemson, and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech was technically in December, but either way. 2005, we lost to Georgia Tech. In 2006, we lost in almost every week of November and the last week of October. 2007, same thing. History repeated itself. Granted, we went 5-7, but every week in November, we lost. 2008, we lost to Georgia Tech, UNC. In 2009, Clemson, UNC. 2010, Virginia Tech, and USF. 2011, Virginia, FSU, Boston College. 2012, Virginia. 2013, all of November. Guys, losing in November isn't just a Mario thing. It's a Miami thing. And again, I don't know what it is. I don't know if like players just get too comfortable in here. And like I said, if the selling point is actually our Achilles heel, I mean, again, there could be a lot of distractions here. And when you're winning, again, winning masks a lot of your problems. Okay. And so you mask those problems up. And then on top of that, you start building bad habits. And then guess what? That leads to losses. And then guess what losses lead to? Complacency. And maybe because you're in a comfortable area, you're like, I don't give a crap about losing. My draft stock, it dropped a little bit, but people will see. And there's a truth in that somewhat because we've seen it. We've seen guys who played for mediocre Miami teams go on to have success in the NFL, get developed, right? I say this also because I want to bring up really quick the national champions over the last couple of years. Let's look at this really quick. Okay. Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Florida State, Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, Florida, LSU, Florida. 2005, Texas is the last program to be based, in my opinion, in a cool city or a destination city that won a national championship. 2005, Austin. And Austin really isn't even a big city. It's a great, and by the way, Austin 2005, completely different than Austin 2025. So let's get that straight too. And we can see what's happening in Austin right now. Tons of money, extremely good coach, brilliant mind, brilliant talent evaluator. Where's Texas been? I'm just saying. I'm just saying they're not that much better off than we are. Okay, they've won more conference championships, but they're not that much better. My point in all this is like Columbus, Ohio, Ann Arbor, Athens, Georgia, Tuscaloosa, Baton Rouge, Clemson, Auburn. Like, there's not a lot of distractions in those cities. So maybe it is Miami, right? Maybe we are our own problem. I don't know how you rectify that. Maybe you need to get a coach in here who can create a sort of discipline or understanding of what's going on, but it's not working. Next, I want to talk about Mario being fired. So I've been critical of Mario, but we can't get him fired. Listen, I've sat with this for the last 48 hours. I'm glad I've waited. I'm glad I didn't make this video. I knew I shouldn't have made this video. I also need to do research, as you can see. But Mario's got 48, 50 million still left on his contract, not to mention Miami already paid 12 million to get him here from Oregon. So you're already looking at like a $60 million loss as it is, because if you get rid of Mario early, what was the point of paying the 12 million to get him here? The truth is we're stuck with him for the next 6 years, which is why I'm making this video, because it's not to bash Mario. It is to give us a way of how to look forward. At the end, I'm going to give us like how we can fix this, or how I think we can fix this. Again, I understand it's not the answer, and I will give that disclaimer when I get to that portion, that segment. But we're not firing Mario. And anyone who is sitting there thinking we need to fire Mario is completely delusional. And I mean that in the most nice way. I don't care what arguments you give. It is a delusion. He's not getting fired this year. He could pull a Mike Norvell and go 2-10 next year, and he's not going to get fired. Why is that? Because he's great at recruiting players and donors. I'm not sure if you've heard of the Moss brothers, but they're apparently one of the biggest donors, and they rock with Mario. And that's pretty much the reason why they're as involved as they are, is apparently because of Mario. I could be wrong, but from everything I've read, everything I've heard, watching things, hearing things, reading things, that's what we've got. And we've got to make do with what we've got. Okay. And my hope is, again, I know he's not going to see this video ever. But hopefully this sentiment will get to him, is if this guy loves the U as much as I do, even half as much as I do, or twice as much as I do. I don't even know where I was going with that math. I'm just really bad in my Asian calculator in my head. If this guy loves the University of Miami as much as he says he does, and as much as we all do, I think he's going to have to take a long, hard look in the mirror. And he's going to have to realize that he's going to have to make changes, and that he's going to have to like put his pride aside. Like, just to kind of give you like a thing, like an analogy. Listen, man, I could be doing 1,000 things right now, right? I think I'm talented enough. I think I'm smart enough. I could do nothing. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm not saying that as in a bad way or derogatory thing, but me and my wife are financially blessed enough to want to stay home. I gave my wife the choice. I asked her, hey, do you want to work? Do you want to stay home? She said, I want to go back to work. I support her in that. She worked hard. She's a lawyer. Do you, boo-boo? I've lived a great life. I've done a lot of great things professionally. I'm good. I will stay home with the kids. Do you think that's what I want to do? If you know me, no. You know that's not the answer. Being a stay-at-home dad, not fun. All of this to say, there are things you're going to have to do in life that you're not going to like, and that are not advantageous to you, but they're the right thing to do, and they will, at the end of the day, propel you to your goals, right? My goal being to have a healthy and amazing family, right? That said, I want to get into Mario, and I want to get into the reality of Mario, okay? This isn't to bash him. These are facts, and I'm going to support them with facts. Mario ain't getting us to the promised land alone. He ain't taking us there. We are not winning a national championship based on Mario alone. It's not going to happen. My critiques of Mario are probably the same as yours. I've lost faith in him. I admit that right now. And it's not just because of this SMU loss or the Louisville loss. This is an accumulation of 4 years, what I've seen. And again, my 30 years of watching this program. Okay. He's just not going to get us there. Again, good coaches win the games they're supposed to win. Great coaches win the games they're not supposed to. And Mario is not doing that. Mario is not handling business. He didn't do it at FIU. He didn't win a Conference USA championship at FIU. He didn't do it at Oregon, right? In the sense of winning a national championship. I don't even actually know if he won a Pac-12. I have to look that up. And he's not doing it here. He's not even competing here. At least at Oregon, he competed. Here, we're not even getting in the room. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't see, especially when you factor in that Utah was in the Pac-12 at that time, like ACC and Pac-12, not that different. It's not like ACC versus SEC or ACC versus the Big 12, Big 10. You know what I mean? Big 12, a little below, but Pac-12 at that time before it dissolved, and ACC, not that different. Okay. My opinion, Mario needs to get new guys in again. I'm going to get into, and it's going to sound a little contradictory, but Mario, you got to just stick to recruiting. That is your bread and butter. Again, the reminder of this video, we're not getting rid of Mario. We have 6 years left with him. Okay. So what do? We got to make some lemonade. Okay. Mario, you stick to recruiting. You stick to culture creating. You create whatever culture you want to call it. Hard work, dedication. Never giving up. What you list out the values, right? You kiss babies and you shake hands. You are basically the gatekeeper to the program, and that's it. Everything else, I need you to give it up. Give it up. Don't even look. Don't even second guess. Don't even nothing. Your job is to recruit and be the face of the program. That's it. You need to find people. Listen, when I did PR, I had to write an article for a client. And what I did was I went and I surveyed a bunch of CEOs and presidents of companies. And I asked them basically, what is basically the top 5 things a CEO needs to be able to do? A good CEO, right? A successful CEO. And within the top 3, if not all the top 2 every time for all of these people that I surveyed, they all said, you find people who can do things that you can't do or do things better than you, and you give them the ball and you run with it. That's it. That's what you do as a CEO. And if we're going to call Mario Cristobal a CEO coach, if he's got to act like a CEO. You find people, and this is no knock to him. Again, everyone has their roles in life. My wife has her role in our house. I have my role in our house. It literally takes a village for anything, a business, a friendship. Like it takes a team. It takes a village. There's gone are the days of the head coach doing everything and being the sole driving force of a program. It's not going to happen anymore. And Mario's just not a good coach. Like we can call, like we know this. It's like like the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. People know Mario doesn't make good game day decisions. He's not a he's that's why they call him a CEO coach. That's like the public relations spin on saying he's not a good coach, right? And so like just release it, let it go. Get different coordinators in here who like it's like get people who are going to win because here's the thing, man. If you don't do that, you're a bad CEO, right? Because you are putting people in positions right now and you are choosing personnel who are not getting the job done, which means you are not evaluating talent correctly. And I could even take that further even with players now that I'm saying that. Because where are all these players that he's recruited? Where are these top 5, top 10, top 15 recruiting classes that we've had the last 3 years? Where are they? Because I'm seeing a lot of transfers. A lot. There's a lot of transfers. I'll go through the depth chart really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of, no, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 of the 11 starters on offense, 5 are transfers. Defense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 11 on defense, 6. Half of your starters are transfers. And not only are they transfers, they are your role players. They are your main players. You are not subbing a lot of these kids out with the guys you've recruited. So either Mario's not evaluating talent good enough, he's not developing talent good enough, or he's not choosing the right personnel to do those things. Again, Not speaking out of emotion, speaking fact. Next, the November decline. It's got to be hands down the most egregious and the most like biggest example of this. He has six losses as a double-digit favorite. That's the most of any other coach coaching now and in the last like 15 years, right? The only coach right now that's still coaching, because the other two were Mac Brown and I forgot who the other guy was, is Kalen DeBoer. And look what he's doing at Alabama. Okay? And a lot of those losses that Kalen DeBoer has was at Alabama. So he's corrected, or he is correcting his mistakes. Give me a quality matchup Mario's won past the second week of October. Give me one. Give me one win after the second week of October that Mario has won that's quality. You can't. He's 4-11. From the last week of October to December, he's 4-11. And that ain't going to cut it. That would be grounds for termination at any other place. Like, I mean, you'd have to like contextualize that number, but you go anywhere and you're saying, yeah, I'm for. No. You can't. No. It's like, it's not going to work. Moving over. Excuses are going to come in for Mario supporters. But Mario needs time. He took over a busted program. I thought that. That was something I believed. Then I did my research. You can go do your own. Go look this through. I did the same thing based on what we were seeing on the field. Watching the games. I'm like, yeah, Manny Diaz's teams were, they gave up. Realistically, that could be coach. That could be coaching. Could have been a culture thing that Manny Diaz lost. But guys, this was not a busted program. Mario likes to say, it was an empty cupboard. No. Mario inherited a team of 2 5-stars, 44 4-stars. This wasn't a team of bums. Maybe a team of undisciplined players. Maybe a team of players who weren't fully developed and raised to their potential. But if they were so bad, how did Rhett Lashley take a bunch of them and get to the ACC championship last year? How did Rhett Lashley take a bunch of them and beat us this year? Again, you can't sit there and tell me the cupboard's bare and someone else is cooking with the stuff you had in there. It's impossible. It's impossible. Oh, talking about a bare cupboard, right? Let's talk about this guy over in Bloomington, Indiana, right? Who took a bunch of guys from James Madison and took them to the playoffs last year and now has 2 back-to-back 9-0 seasons. Again, we're going to talk about in the next section coaches turning programs around, but I don't want to hear this nonsense about, oh, well, Mario's got to get his guys in there and, he needs time. No. Listen, I'm not saying Mario had, these prolific players, but he could have worked with it. He could have done better. He could have not gotten the brakes beaten off him by Middle Tennessee. And for a lot of people, for a lot of you watching, that was probably the moment when you knew. I didn't. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. But there's a lot of people I know who lost faith right then and there, first year. I get it. And again, people will tell you, it takes time for a coach to win. You got to let Mario get his guys in. Okay. I hear you. That would be true 20 years ago. It's a completely different game now. But we between NIL and the transfer portal, you don't need 3 to 5 years to get your program up and running, get your culture and things like that. And especially at a place like Miami, where it's like, okay, let me reel these guys. Oh, could you please come to Miami? No. Listen, Oklahoma State, okay. Washington State, Spokane, okay. Miami? No. Let me give you some examples of coaches who have turned their program. We just talked about him, right? Rhett Lashley. Geez, I can't even, what he's done at SMU. Okay, this year, a little off. But last year, his first year in the ACC, got to it. This is a program who literally in my lifetime, well, not maybe my lifetime, the year before I was born, but received the death penalty. They literally shut the program down. Like, do you know how, and granted, I know that was 40 years ago, but do you know how hard it is to shut a program down, then to build it up? Like, that is, again, that's why it's called the death penalty, right? Let's move over. Let's talk about another coach who beat us this year, Jeff Brom. He's already competed for an ACC championship. Has Mario? Nope. We talked about the guy earlier, Curt Cignetti. First year, got to the college football playoffs, went 9-0 in back-to-back seasons in his first year with James Madison players. Sonny Dykes, first season, took TCU to the playoffs, beat Michigan in the playoffs, played for a natty. Got blown out in the natty. Either way, Sonny Dykes took a TCU program who was basically where we're at right now. It's not like TCU at that time was super dominant, but they were good. They were a good team. They were beating good teams. They were competitive, but he got them there, right? Kenny Dillingham in 1 year was able to turn around a program and win the Big 12 and make the college football playoffs. His alma mater. So it's a guy like, Mario's at his, no, look, this guy's at his alma mater. He won. Dan Lanning, the guy who took over from Mario, got Oregon to a Pac-12 conference championship in his second year, and his third year won the Big 10, a harder conference. Again, guys, we're removing emotion. We're just stating facts here, right? James Franklin, guy who got fired, 6 double-digit winning seasons. 2 of those double-digit winning seasons in his first 4 years. Mario, again, removing emotion. The Cam Ward season, take that out. Where's Mario's double-digit winning season? Because it's not Mario. That's Cam. We've discussed that. And it would be very hard for you to refute that. I would love to hear it. Drop it in the comments, but let me know. 2 appearances in the Big Ten championship, won one of them in 2016. That's a guy who got fired. Then you have the hottest football coach right now, who literally has no major championships, but still went to FAU, won 2 damn championships at FAU. Listen, there's a ton of other examples. There are examples in tons of coaches who have inherited programs that either and took them to new heights. Let's look at them. Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian, Kyle Whittingham over at Utah, Brian Kelly, even at LSU, Ryan Day. Like, one of them, those guys is fired. The rest of those guys, all great quarterbacks. I mean, all great coaches. All have taken programs that were probably in a very similar state as maybe not with the exact talent level, but in a very similar state, brought them up, got them competing. Again, when I say Mario is not it, it's not because I'm being emotional right now. I'm looking at history. I'm looking at the numbers. It's just, these are facts, man. Show me. And not only that, the guy's gone through how many coordinators? 5? 4 or 5? Every year since he's been a coach at he has replaced at least 1, if not 2 coordinators. And if anything, if if the smoke ends up showing fire, he may get rid of another one and Shannon Dawson this year. Like, again, I don't know if we need to get a committee in here to help Mario get some good talent in here. But again, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not even using the hearsay that's out there on the internet of like former coaches, former staff hating his guts, the team hating his guts. Like, I'm not even include that. I just want to give you guys facts. I don't want to give you hearsay. But even if you were to like throw that in there, you think that's a good indictment of him? You think that shows that he's capable of winning a national championship? I don't think so. All of this to say, I think it's good to present and identify problems. How do we fix them? Right? I want to end this on a positive note because I do think at the end of the day, we have to believe in this program. Mario, whatever happens to him, wherever he goes, this program is going to continue on. And we as fans have to have realistic expectations, views, and loyalty to this program. Right? And so how do we fix this? First and foremost, I'm going to admit when I go through this that I have no idea what it takes to fix a football program. I don't. I'm not a football coach. I've never been a football coach. I'm not in the building. I'm not even in the parking lot with these folks, right? However, I feel like there are some just generic things, some things you spitball and throw at the wall and hopefully something sticks. And here are some of the things I think. Immediately, here are things that I think you can do immediately. Like today, moving forward, it would be changing things up. Move Shannon Dawson up into the press box. Give him a bird's eye view. Change it. I don't know what he's seeing on the ground level, but whatever he's seeing ain't good enough and ain't getting it done. Switch it up. You gotta. Insanity, again, we've heard it 1,000 billion times. Insanity is doing the same thing over, expecting different results. Change it up. Next, you're not playing for anything realistically. I mean, everyone's gonna sit there and it's just it's nauseating at this point. People are like, oh, we're not mathematically eliminated. No, we are. We are. Again, you go through it and you go with the fine tooth comb. I've done it. It ain't happening. The things you're hoping to happen will not happen. And even if they do happen, we will get jumped. We have too much against us to help us. Even if we finish 10-2 in the argument about Notre Dame, they're not going to pick us over Notre Dame. It's not going to happen. Okay? Let's keep that up. So, we're not playing for anything. Listen. My good friend Alex Dano, who I was just kind of quoting right there, said it would be a terrible choice to put in new guys, put in the young guys, because it shows that you're giving up. I would counter that and say, no, you're trying something different. You're switching it up. You're showing your team that you will do anything to win, that you will put whoever is needed in position to win. You would also be talent evaluating for the next year. You'd be able to see who can handle this, who cannot handle this, who's with us, who's not with us. My hope, these players don't quit. Whether they're benched, whether they ride as a starter, whoever it is, my hope is that no one quits. Not from a team perspective, from a human perspective. Because if you're quitting at this age in your life, you ain't gonna go far. You ain't gonna go far. Again, I talked about this in the recap. You got to learn how to handle adversity. Life is not easy. Life is hard, and you just got to pick your hard, right? So, I think also, I just read my notes, going over my notes. I think you'll be talent evaluating. You'll also see who was hot in August isn't who's hot in November, right? Who's really good in practice, even today, isn't always who's good at game, in the game. We've seen it. You've heard it. I think Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco, those are two examples, I think, of players who hated practicing, weren't into practice, weren't dedicated to practice, but balled out on game day, on Sundays. You know, I think another thing we can do is watch film and what worked against opposing teams. Run those damn plays. Copy what we're playing Syracuse's team this week. Who beat Syracuse? Who beat the brakes off? Tennessee? Go watch that Tennessee game. Take at least 60% of their plays. Run them. It worked against them then. See if it works against them now. What do you have to lose? Copy their homework. Like, teams are doing it against us. We need to do it against them. Like, again, I'm not a coach, but these seem like pretty simple things. Now, let's look at some things long-term, right? Some things that I think we can do long-term to really turn this program around and really give Mario a chance and this team a chance to win. First thing, I think Mario needs to go out and get one of the most brilliant minds in the NFL. You need an NFL guy because their whole job is to constantly be innovative. Their whole job is to constantly prepare for teams who are already prepared for them, to have contingency plans upon contingency plans. Go out, get a guy from the NFL. That's what you need. Next, college football is heading towards the NFL in almost every way. Why not get someone from the NFL? Like, if you're already going to that type of play, get ahead of the curve. Bring them in. Get them into your building. You got to let go of your pride. You don't have the answers. It's been 4 years. It's okay. Doesn't mean you can't play your part. Doesn't mean you can't be a good gatherer of talent, both on the field and behind the doors, right? I mean, I honestly don't care if we got a person who literally had the personality of a wet piece of cardboard and hated talking to humans. That is your job, Mario. You are the recruiter, not them. We don't need these offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators going out there and recruiting. That will be your job. We don't need them to talk to the press. That will be your job. We don't need them talking to players. That could be your job. We need people who can run plays, design plays, and be flexible. and then you let them fix it, whatever it is. Next, what I would say, incentivize the shit out of everyone's contract, from the equipment room to the players to the coaches. Everyone's contract moving forward needs to be incentivized. Now, what you're probably thinking is, how am I supposed to get talent there? Well, then you incentivize the shit, like I said, out of it at the end, right? So you give Carson Beck's getting $4 million here. Okay, cool. That's the most he's probably going to get paid anywhere else. Well, guess what? You're not getting your $4 million until you get us to the ACC championship. You're not. Coaches, cool. You want to come play here? We will give you $2 million more than any other school, but you got to get to a championship. You got to get double-digit wins. You got to have these sort of stats. Whatever it is, you figure it out. Whatever, that's your job. But I just came up with this within a 48-hour period, by the way. I'm just taking shit, throwing it against the wall, seeing what sticks, right? Next, demand both my coordinators, whoever you hire, have a 2-season approach. Season 1 is weeks 1 through 6. Seasons 2 is 8 through the college football playoffs. In the first season, you allow new and young players and incoming players to gel, and you highlight their talents. That's what you design the whole scheme around. Second season, it can be a completely different playbook. Completely, which I understand is probably impossible, but okay, let's say it's not. Realistically, let's just make it variations then of the first season's playbook, and you just give it in different looks, different formations, different sets. Maybe you use Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels and Keelan Marion in this formation. Guess what? In week 8, we're going to use the same formation, but we're going to replace it with these players. And we're going to shift it up a little bit. Maybe we won't go trips. Maybe we'll go twins on both sides. I don't know. But you need to have a plan, a contingency in place. One of my favorite characters is Batman. Why? Because he's a plain ass dude who's rich and just can come up with really good contingencies. You give the man enough time, he can beat anyone. And that's what we need. We need Batman. We need Batman in our head coaching seat. We need someone, or in at least the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. We need someone who can build contingencies upon contingencies, because there has to be adjustments, guys. We're seeing it. And I highlighted already. It's not just a Mario thing. It is a Miami thing. I think people come down here, they get too comfortable. They get, oh, this is the life, man. I don't got to try that hard. I'm not saying that's what they do, but complacency can slip in very easily, right? There's one of my hero in life is Bruce Lee. One of his famous quotes is, "Be like water. It is the most powerful force on earth. It is malleable. It can fit any shape." That's what we need to be. And we're surrounded by it, so you can use that euphemism or that metaphor, whatever it is. I'm not really good. I forgot English for a second and what they're called. I don't know. Either way, I'm not making this video, again, to call from Mario's head. I want Mario to succeed. I think we all do. I don't think there's a person here who wants Mario to fail, because that means the program's going to fail. And my thing is this. If we don't make changes, then I am calling for his head. I am calling for shit. I do want these people fired. Why? Because everyone has a responsibility. Everyone has a responsibility. If you knew a player played lights out quarters 1, 2, and 3, but then the fourth quarter, pooped the bed, you starting him? No. Or at least you're pulling him out in the third quarter. It's no different with Mario. There's no difference in that. You are what your record says you are. There's no lying about that. Okay? And and there's no difference between a coach and a player. If you're not producing, you're not producing. And it's as simple as that. And so my hope is we can get behind Mario. Hopefully, if he changes, he adapts, we can get behind this team. We can still cheer as fans, support this team. They're not garbage. Maybe their effort is garbage. Maybe what the results will be garbage, but the actual players are not garbage. Let's be nice to these kids. They're kids. I know they're getting paid tons of money. We've reached the end of the video, y'all. I've gone on a diatribe. I did not mean for this to be 44 minutes, but here we are. Be good, y'all. I'll have the Syracuse preview on Friday. Things are going to get better. They have to. And worst comes to worst, we go back to another 6 years of mediocrity.